Welcome. Here is the video that will let you know that how to install and configure PostgreSQL on AWS Linux 2. So first of all, we have to know that why PostgreSQL and no, why not MSSQL or other relational databases. So in the market, as you know that lots of relational databases are available: MSSQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, etc. etc. Okay, but on the server, when we deploy our application, and if you want to use any relational databases like MySQL, that is fine because it is open source. But if we want to use MSSQL, then it's not open source. We have to purchase a license, and which will be a costlier. Okay, so to overcome this issue, we can use PostgreSQL for the small applications. Okay, PostgreSQL is a free, open source object-oriented relational database system. It has earned a strong reputation for robustness, reliability, and performance with over 30 years of active deployment. PostgreSQL and SQL compliant and is used as a primary data storage for web, analytic applications, mobile applications, etc. Some of the features supported by PostgreSQL are over here. Supports pipeline queries through libqueue, which can significantly increase throughput over high latency connections. Subscripting operators added to JSON-B and HStore types. JSON conveniences, multi-ranges enable the representation of non-contiguous data ranges. Out parameters can now be used to return data from stored procedures. Performance improvements through parallel queries, heavily concurrent workloads, partition databases, logical replications, and vacuuming. Updates to B-tree indexes are more efficiently managed into the PostgreSQL 14. Security enhancements are also there. So for now, let's start with the update system yum packages. As you know that AWS Linux 2 is using a yum packages rather than APD package. Okay, so in this case we are using AWS Linux 2, so we will use yum command. Okay, so let's upgrade the system yum packages by below command: sudo yum update test y. Now install Amazon Linux extras. As we know that Postgres is the part of the Amazon extras library. Okay, so we can install Amazon extras library and enable the PostgreSQL 14 there. Postgre 14 is the latest one package in the Amazon extras library. So please use the following command to install the package: sudo amazon-linux-extras enable PostgreSQL 14. That will install Amazon Linux extras with PostgreSQL 14. Install the PostgreSQL Server. So whatever we want to use it, first of all we have installed Amazon extras library. Now we have to install PostgreSQL Server. So for that we have to use the following command: sudo yum install PostgreSQL Server -y. That will install the PostgreSQL Server on the AWS Linux 2. Now it's time to initialize the DB. After installing the PostgreSQL, it's time to initialize the DB with the following command: sudo PostgreSQL setup is init DB. Now it's time to start the service of the PostgreSQL. To start the service, we have to use sudo systemctl start PostgreSQL. That will start the service of the PostgreSQL. Then after we have to enable the service. So just replace the start with the enable. That will enable the service. And to check the status of the service, just replace the enable with the status command. Okay, that will show the status of the PostgreSQL service. Now, how to identify whether the PgSQL is installed on the server or not? Just write a command sudo-u postgres psql-c select version. That will give output as this defined screenshot that will show you PostgreSQL 14.0, the system version Ubuntu, PGDG 18 4 plus and all. Okay, now let's connect to the PgSQL database. There are multiple ways available to connect with the PG PostgreSQL. First of all, running the PostgreSQL command directly with the sudo privilege like sudo-u PostgreSQL that will result you as shown in the screenshot. Now second one is switch to PostgreSQL user created after PostgreSQL 14 installation. We have to use the following command sudo-i-u postgres that will result as shown in your screenshot. Now we can connect to PostgreSQL with any of the method, but we refer the first one. Okay. Configure PostgreSQL instance for remote access. To access the PostgreSQL which we have installed on the AWS Linux 2, now we have to use that PgSQL outside of the server. Let's say an example, I want to connect that PgSQL from my system, from local system to the Linux, okay, AWS Linux, which is a server. So before we can configure our PostgreSQL for remote access, there are a few concepts we need to get clear. PostgreSQL supports multiple authentication methods as one of the amazing feature. It uses a concept known as roles to handle client authentication. The default authentication for Postgres is ident authentication, which basically associates a Postgres role with unique system count. The supported authentication methods include the following: ident, password, peer, trust. Ident authentication means supported via TCP/IP connection only. It obtains the client system username with an optional username mapping. Then password, a role connects with a pass using a password. Peer, similar to ident but only supported on local connections. Then trust, allows a role to connect as long as conditions defined in the PGHBA configurers are fulfilled. PGHBA config file is the file of configuration provided by PGSQL itself while installation. For the instance to be accessed remotely, we need to make changes in this location. While we install the Amazon Extras library with enabling the PGSQL 14, this path will be created. Okay, so we have to add some of the configuration on this path, like where library PGSQL /data /PostgreSQL.config. We have to allow the password login, like as the following command: sudo set -i, then this is the location, host as ident md5, this is the password login. Okay, then whatever the path on which PostgreSQL configure are available. Now change the identification method from peer to trust as below. Above we have a password login with the md5. Now we have to change the identification with the trust. Okay, from the peer. This is the command. Now allow the instance to be accessed from everywhere. So we have to write a command like this: sudo vim and the path of the PGHBA configuration file. After writing following command, after writing this command, after writing this command, this will show you this information that we have to add commands like host all, then 132 the schema, host all, like in the description, host all this, then IPv6 local connection. We have to add this amount of files, this amount of lines over there for IPv for local connections and IPv6 local connections. Now it's time to use this service outside of the environment. Before that, we have to enable something there for to listening the addresses with a star. So by default the remote PostgreSQL connection is disabled, so you need to add the following configuration to enable remote connectivity. Open the PostgreSQL configuration file in the VI editor by the following command: sudo vi /where/library /PGSQL /data /PostgreSQL.config. Locate the line that starts with listen addresses, uncomment and change it to listen addresses equal to star. Let's see a screenshot so you will get a better idea. See, whenever you write this command, it will open the file like this. You have to locate this connection and authentication, where you will find these listen addresses. In the listen addresses, change the value with the star, whatever the value available before, change with star. Through this, it will allow the connection to be accessed outside of the environment, remotely accessed. Now everything has been done. Now just time to restart the PostgreSQL by the following commands. Restart PostgreSQL with the sudo systemctl restart PostgreSQL, then sudo systemctl enable PostgreSQL. Now it's time to set up a user on PostgreSQL database. Let's say an example, we have created one super user which says an admin, okay, on the database side. Okay, so we can create like this: sudo -u postgres PsSQL. Create a super user with the name admin as below. You can edit the command at the password at the rate, whatever password you want as preferred. To create role admin with login super user, so it will create a role named admin with login as super user. Now create db create role password, whatever the password you want to add there, just add a password there. Verify the user bin has been created with the required privileges or not. See the screenshot. Okay, this is the screenshot. Whenever you write this command over here, you will get Postgres has, just write /du, it will give you a list of roles there. Here you can see that admin has been created with the super user, create role and create db access. Now create db in PostgreSQL. Whatever the configuration we have done earlier is regarding the PostgreSQL user and all. Okay, now it's time to add a database there. So to add a database, just write a command create database and database name, whatever the database name you want. I wrote over here as a testdb. Now just create one more user for the database. Create user user1 with encrypted password, whatever the password you want there. Okay, I took over here password at the 321 for an example, and grant the privileges for the testdb to the user1. So whenever the user1 tries to access the testdb with the credential, then he will be able to access that, otherwise no. Connect to the PostgreSQL 14 instance from a remote host. Now we have configured everything required for the remote host connection. Now we have to verify that service is listening to 5432 port or not. By default, PostgreSQL is listening to the 5432 port, so we have to check that by writing this command ss-tunnelp or pipe grep 5432. It will show the following screenshot like TCP listen 004 and 0.0.0.0 colon 5432 and all. Okay, that means 5432 we can listen to, the service is listening to the 5432 port. Now allow the port through the firewall if you have UFW. If you have not installed UFW, then we have to enable it first, then you can check. We have to allow the 5432 there by the command sudo UFW allow 5432/TCP. Now use the syntax below to connect your instance from the remote machine. PSSQL Postgres / colon username password @ host colon port /db. SSL mode is disabled. So you can see we have a username as example admin, password whatever the password you have configured earlier, that host means the your database URL might be possible whatever the name will be there, the database name or AWS access database name or the host name there. Okay, whatever you have for the PostgreSQL. Okay, now through this we can connect to the database. Thank you. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.